Welcome back to another episode of In the Foxhole. I'm your host, JC.
And I'm Angela.
Welcome. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing incredible because of our guest that's with us today, Ramon Jones. Welcome to In the Foxhole.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's always great to be with y'all.
Yeah, Ramon, I'm so excited to have you on. I mean, not only do we get to see you speak at Sales Boost next year in March, but just anytime I get a text, phone call, and get a minute to talk to you, like my day just lights up. It's always a good conversation. And, you know, the fun thing about all our conversations is not just like, hey, what's up? And how are you? Like we get into the heat of things. We talk about employees. We talk about team. We talk about culture, you know, stuff that really gets us going in our business. So every time I see that phone ring and it's your name up there, I get excited. So now I'm even more excited to talk to you here today on In the Foxhole.
Yeah. I'm just real quick. I really appreciate y'all having me on because, man, I've been trying to get on a call with you forever. When you did your 30 days live, I was like, I'm gonna get to it, and you know, you're so popular. You booked out in like 5 minutes, and I take too long to get stuff done, so I couldn't. You finally were able to, you know, put this together and get on together. So I'm excited about this. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I know a lot about you, and so does Angela, but some of our viewers may not. So why don't you tell our viewers who you are, where you're coming from, and a little bit about your companies?
Yeah. So I'm Ramon Jones. I'm out of Virginia, but I grew up in Northeast Ohio, about 30 minutes east of Cleveland, little city called Painesville. Grew up in a single parent household with my mom. She basically was mom and dad, and she beat us down like she was dead. I'm just playing. She was a real strong figure, and you know, us as we started off with 3 boys, and we definitely needed someone that was strong. Otherwise, you know, with the area that we grew up in, things could have been really bad. Just to kind of give a little background of, you know, how I grew up, because it's what made me who I am today. We didn't always have everything that we wanted when we were growing up. Christmas for us wasn't always the greatest thing. It was great because you were thinking something was going to happen. And then Christmas for us didn't always turn out to what we wanted it to be, but we were still grateful for everyone that we had. It just sucked when you had to go be around your friends and they got all the cool stuff. And, you know, you got the same board games from Toys for Tots that you get every year kind of thing. So, but growing up like that, I started going down a bad path. And then I had sorry, someone's calling in, distracting me. I had a mentor come into my life and knock me on the right path. I had 3 people when I was in high school that really made a big impact on my life. Lots of other males did, but the main ones would be Mr. Magruder, Coach Culliver, and Brian Jones. I know those names don't mean much, but I want to make sure that they know that I really appreciate them when they see this. But anyway, so I moved to Virginia, and I was a shipbuilder. I built aircraft carriers for about 14 years. And while doing that, I started my pressure washing business in 2014. And I kind of did that on the side up until 2021, when I had some really great friends like JC, Brett, Ryan, Matt Hayden. What's the tough clip guy's name? David Felt. They were like, you know, talk to me, and they were like, look, man, you gotta just leave your job. They talked me into going full time with the business, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And you know, we've done a lot of really good things with the business. Started the Christmas light business in 2018, and it's just been uphill from there. I think it's amazing sometimes seeing the things that Facebook will put out there and say, hey, this was you 5 years ago. You're like, wow. I did some 5 years ago, and it was like, man, it's crazy. We got 10 calls today. And I'm like, goodness gracious. I was happy for 10 calls that day. or 10 leads or whatever it was. It was just seeing some of those things really brings the realization of where I was and where I'm going and where I can go. So I'm really excited about that. Hope that gave you enough description. I know it gave you more of a description of my background, but I think it's important to give that for the viewers. That way, once we start talking about what my vision is and what my path is forward, people can understand that a little bit more.
Yeah. And, obviously we never want to see anybody grow up less fortunate. And as a kid, my parents separated at a young age. And I remember Christmas in New York, my mom lived in like a tiny cottage and we didn't have a lot either. We were on food stamps. Pretty sure I remember going to a movie theater, taking popcorn that was left over from somebody else prior to being there just to be able to get some popcorn for the movie. But that helped mold myself and like yourself to the person we are today. And I just shared a post a little while ago about a message. I got an email from a customer that they're going through some stuff. They put the lights up and life hit them hard, like kicked them real hard. And they said, hey, we don't even know if we can afford the lights right now. You might have to come back, take them down. And Liz, my office manager, is like, JC, I got to gift them these lights. Like they have to have the lights up. And she emailed us last night for the third time, thanking us and saying how much, light it brought to their life right now in a dark time. But going through those tough moments as a younger has helped shaped us to be the people we are today, to be able to give back so much more to those in need. And again, it's not what we want to see people ever go through, but it's a strong part of who we are today.
And I want to be very clear. I don't say these things because I want people to feel bad for me or think any more of me because of it. But I want to say those things because I want to give hope. Because some people just need a little sparkle of hope. And if I can share a little bit of my story, my testimony, and it just gives them that extra 1% to be better, then I want to do that because I want you to know, I don't want you to feel bad for me, but I want you to know that anything's possible for anybody. It just is. And it's just all about believing for me. So
love that.
And it does. Yeah. It gives people hope that no matter where they're at, what they can do. And you also referenced the short amount of time. Those Facebook memories are great for that, of how quickly our perspective and things that we think are win can change in such a short amount of time. So before we dive into some of the obstacles and challenges you've had in business, tell us about a win that you're celebrating right now.
Well, it's not a win that I'm necessarily celebrating right now, but it's a win that I think, we're celebrating it now, and we've been celebrating it for most of the lighting season. I am finally getting better at letting things go and being able to let someone else do some things. We brought in our first production manager this year, and it's really opened up my eyes to be able to see how much more I'm going to be able to get done to help move the needle for the company, because this person can deal with the day-to-day stuff that, just doesn't move the needle for us. It's a big difference when you bring someone in that only has to focus on that, and it's their job to make that better, compared to me, where I'm squirrel-minded and I want to make this better, but then in the middle of making this better, I want to make that better too. And now that I want to make that better, I forgot about this. And 3 months later, I'm like, dang, that's what I was supposed to do. And now it's like, now I can say, hey, look, this is a great idea. Make it happen for me.
Or we're laughing right along with you.
It was great idea.
Because that's us. So we're laughing right along with the squirrel brain and the analogies of, oh, let's do this. And what about that? And that is such a huge win. A lot of times when people think of wins or telling us about wins or celebrating them, there are things that the external world thinks are wins, milestones, dollar amounts, things like that. But it is such a huge win, a transformation in being able to let go, not only for you personally, but I'm sure you can see it in your business as well. And it's one of the hardest things to do as a visionary leader.
Yeah, over the last quarter, this quarter here, my coach has been pounding leadership, and he says it's not the how, it's the who. It's the who. So once you figure out who that is, who the person is, it's going to make everything change for you. It makes a huge difference. And to have such an amazing team, from the admin side to the production side down to our lead technicians, it's just a blessing to be able to know that, every now and then you got to correct some things, but to know that I've got people that are bought in, and are ready to fight for you, as long as you're there for them. Now, like I said, everything's not perfect, and things aren't going to be perfect, but I'm so blessed to have a great team. If you ever try to go on, hey, everybody, y'all can have off and I'm just going to take the reins today, you'll find out how much you need them.
Yeah. Have you read the book Who Not How yet?
I have not.
All right, we'll get you that copy. That's a really great read. You'll like that because it's talking exactly what you just mentioned that your coach mentioned. So great read. And, two other things, like you talked about earlier, your transition from your full-time job to your own company. I'm sure that was scary because it was just so much fear and unknown. But you're able to do that. And I'm sure you look back now and you said, like, I wish I would have done that sooner. And same thing with your production manager. I'm sure this is something you've been wanting to do, but maybe a fear behind of that letting go. And now you can step back and say, well, that was easier than I thought. Why didn't I do that sooner?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's scary because it's like, all right, man, can I really afford to pay this person? And then for me, I'm all about transparency. So I've got to like spell it out to them, like what things are going to be like. So, yeah. Yeah. See, there you go. Right there. Just lost it. Gone.
That's because you were thinking of creating something else, creating something else flew in the window of that.
All right, Ramon, I've seen some incredible videos of you. I'd love to share, when we get this thing live, we'll share that video that you posted. I think it was last year of you talking to your team. That inspired me. Like, you have incredible culture. I've hung out with Nate. I've hung out with some of your crew at Sales Boost last year, and you're doing great things. I mean, just every year, growth after growth after growth, and just so incredibly proud and blessed to be a friend of yours. But I know that wasn't what everybody thinks is happening. Like, there's stuff going on in the background, the back end, where we're like, you're just ready to just throw it all in. I mean, just give it up. Can we talk about times or a time that, Ramon was just ready to go back to the shipyard or just say, you know what, I'm done with this? Like, what was that moment? And, who was there for you if there was somebody there, and how has that helped change the way you do things now?
Well, that's a really good question. And, nothing comes to mind that says, hey, Ramon, I wanted to go back to the shipyard, because I'm really happy with the decision I made with leaving the shipyard. Even though I love the place, they did a lot for me. They helped me be who I am today. There has been moments where I was like, forget this. This is it. I'm done. But I was still working at the shipyard when those moments happened. So there was this one time a couple years back, and it's not recent. If you want something more recent, I can try to think of something, but we'll start with this one. And if you want to change that, we can. But I was on the ship. I was ship checking the CVN 73, the Lincoln. And I was on the ship, and I had crews out installing lights, and it was very windy that day. And we were up against the gun. We had all of these jobs coming in, and I thought I was on top of the world. And it's funny how you can be on top of the world and right underneath it at the same exact time. At this point, we were making so much money. I've never seen this much money coming in a week ever. we're doing numbers in a week that we weren't doing in 3 months. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But I hit rock bottom so hard, so hard. One of my guys, I think someone quit. And then, someone quit. And then one of my guys was a go-getter, and he was like, I'm going to just go out and do it myself. I didn't know he was on the job by himself. I get off the ship. I find out that he left the job. The wind had snatched the ladder off of the roof and messed his hand up. He just packed everything up and went back to the shop. And I had no clue until I got back. And, we're still closing jobs. And this touch-up is over here and that touch-up is over there. And we've got several people that still want their lights up before Thanksgiving. And I'm at home sitting in front of my computer like, how could everything be going so good? And I feel the worst that I've ever felt ever in my life. Like at this point in my life, I hadn't had any major people pass in my life. So I didn't really have, those feelings where, I've lost someone where I have now, but like I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my account and I'm seeing all of these dollars coming through and I'm crying. I'm literally freaking crying like, what the hell am I going to do? And my office manager, I called her and my office manager is also my cousin. I called her and I told her what was going on. She's doing all the calls. She knows what's going on. And she was like, in other words, she was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself and figure out what the hell you're going to do to fix this. And that was the first step that I took towards leaving this shipyard, where I just said, I snapped out of it and I was able to come out of it. And I called my job and I was like, look, I'm just not going to be able to be in this week. I'll put vacation in. It is what it is. You write me up. I get a lot of stuff going on and I got to figure it out. And luckily I had supervisors that understood what was going on and they were helpful. So it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like we were doing anything that was really pressing. And so, I mean, it destroyed my mental. Even if I was at work, I wouldn't be able to get anything done, and a lot of us hit these moments and don't know how to come out of them. But it's so important to be able to have people in your corner that can do that. And I haven't told her this. I may have told her once, but I credit her to being able to help me crawl out of that little space. When you said to me one moment that you were there, that was it. That was it. I mean, other than my brother's passing, but like in the business side, that was it right there. And I feel like that was where I was able to, it was like that Rocky moment where I got knocked down and then the music came on and it's time that, it's amazing. It feels really good to talk about it. It gives me chills knowing that I've got these type of people in my corner to push me through. So that was the moment.
Well, you brought up so many important points in that story. And one is that, your rock bottom moment is one that I think a lot of business owners have, but it wasn't a rock bottom moment that the rest of the world would have seen, right? Like there wasn't something horrific that happened in your business or you lost $1 million or lost all the jobs or something that would have seemed like a crash or struggle to everyone else, that it really was this internal struggle. And a lot of times we can't identify where it came from, that you were like, I just went to the very bottom. And it can happen when things are going great in our business. Money's coming in. It looks like things are going great, but we just get in this sense of overwhelm And I know we've both been there of like, I don't even know where it came from, but I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. I don't know why everything feels so heavy and overwhelming, and I don't know what to do. But those really are those foxhole moments that you feel the pressure of it's all on you, and you're just at the bottom and don't know what to do to get out.
Yeah.
Was that the year that you went full time?
Nope. It was the year before I went full time.
And then you also stressed the importance of your office manager and having somebody. And we talk a lot about that, of like the importance of having a tribe, you know, that you do, that there's somebody that you can call. And I know that you're that for JC as well, of, you know, when you get in the place that there are people that can come alongside, and just like you described it, that she did for you, that helped you crawl right out of that hole. And the importance of surrounding yourself with those people and building a tribe like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk to my team so much about it. I talk to family members about it. You are only going to be as good as your circle. It's just the bottom line. It is. It just is. And it's proven time and time again. And so many people feel like, oh, no, I'm going to be the outlier. No, you're not. You're just not. You're just not. Your circle is who you are. I can find out who you are just by knowing who you talk to. It's just the way that it works. And so for me, I'm constantly trying to pull people in my circle and add people in my circle that are going to elevate me, because I'm selfish.
No, that's not selfish.
What it is.
That was a great surprise twist on the end of that.
I think we all selfishly do that, but you know, we want to be surrounded with like-minded individuals, like you said, that want to bring you up and, you know, elevate you to the next level, not bring you down, because there's so many people out there that are just trying to do that to you and just trying to, you know, bring everything out that can just break you down. But that's why you build that tribe, and they're there for you. I mean, there's been so many moments in the last 8 months where I've been in like hard, like just I'm ready to be done. And I'm so grateful for Angela, for yourself, you know, for my tribe, just to be able to like, hey, wake up, JC. It's not that bad. Because sometimes I like to overthink it. And it's just so important to have those people there for you. Because, you know, you have your friends that you could talk about the good things with, but some of them you can't talk about the bad things. And you need that blend where you can talk about both the highlights and, you know, the bad moments too.
Yeah, it's so important to be able to have someone that when the shit hits the fan, you can go to them. You've got to have someone that you can go to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree. So
sometimes multiple people. But it's not selfish. I mean, you said that, and I mean, it made us laugh and funny. But you know, people sometimes think of it as selfish, of I'm doing the things and collecting the people, and it's all for me. But it's one of the examples of, you know, we can't lead others or pour into others until we take care of ourselves and lead ourselves well first. So unless you have other people pouring into your bucket and taking care of you, you can't be a good leader for your team. So
yeah, and you know, to be fair, I it was kind of joking and kind of serious at the same time, because it can be looked at it as selfish, but it's not really, because you know what, they wouldn't answer the phone if I wasn't bringing some sort of value. Also, you know what I mean. You've got guys that will blow you up that, you know, we do our best to help them, but and we still answer the call and we'll still help them, but there's just too many excuses going on. Like you're calling for help, but you really don't want help. You just want me to help you find an excuse why you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right. But I don't feel like I ever leave that off for whenever I'm doing stuff, and I'm always wanting to help people. And I think when at least most of the successful people that I've ever met are all willing, I'd say probably 90% of them are willing to help people that they can genuinely see want help.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of help, you brought up your coach earlier, pushing you to get your production manager going. And without my coach, Pat Clark, many years ago, I would not be where I am today. And it took me so long to get over the fact that I needed a coach because I was selfish and stubborn and just needed myself until I realized that I needed help. Can you talk to us about what made you get a coach and how that has helped you grow yourself personally and professionally?
So, I always wanted a coach ever since Brandon opened up Conquer.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not get a coach until 2021 because I knew that if I got a coach, I'd have to quit my job. It's an honest truth. I knew that as soon as I got a coach, they were like, look, you need to quit your job. And I was like, I wasn't ready for that. I had too many excuses for why I couldn't quit my job. And so I've always wanted Brandon Vaughn had made me believe in what he was doing. And, just from all the stuff that he was posting, I was like, man, if I could follow this guy, that would be amazing. And it has been ever since I joined Conquer. It has been amazing. And so as soon as I left my full-time job, I went over to coaching because I realized that I didn't know everything. Mm-hmm. And when you realize you don't know everything, you can start learning a whole lot. Because people that know everything don't learn anything because they already know everything. And it's like my coach always said, and I like to use lots of sports analogies. You may not hear much on this podcast, but a lot of my sports analogies come from football. And for me, you got to be coachable. Mm-hmm. You got to be coachable. And so many of us go into life and see all of these teams that are going to play for championships and games and conference championships and stuff like that. And then this one player decides, hey, I don't need a coach. And they're like, they just crucify this person because they say they don't need a coach. But then we go in life and think that we can go out and win the championship inside of life without a coach. To me, that's so crazy. I never seen it that way, but I see it that way now. Like, what makes me think that I can do this myself when I could get someone that can help me get through this, that's been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
But, they're like, when Kyrie came out and said, oh, the Nets basketball team doesn't need a coach. We're like, this guy's crazy. What the heck is he thinking? The NBA team, they need a coach because everyone needs someone to be able to help them along the way. It's just that's my thoughts on it. That's my thoughts on it. I like shortcuts. I don't like to get bumped and bruised all the time. I get tired of that. That shit hurts.
It was cheaper to invest in coaches multiple times year over year than it was to learn it the hard way and just keep making the same expensive mistakes over and over and over. And there's a reason why our coaches have coaches and their coaches have coaches. And the greatest athletes out there have coaches, whether they're still playing or retired. The most successful business owners I know have coaches and still have coaches.
There's levels. It's not like, okay, yeah, once you're done here, you're done. No, there is levels to levels to levels to levels. And it's pretty crazy once you get your eyes open up to something like that. But it is, You hear people talk about, oh, I had a mentor show me. I had my mentor bring me up. And the mentor is the same thing as a coach. Just a different name.
Yeah. And I knew Bobby Castro, I saw him at Apex Live 2 years ago. He sold his company for 9 figures. And once he exited his company, he went on to do other things, but then he stepped into another level of life and got another coach. I mean, in a completely different realm of things that brought him into another level of what he was trying to do and grow to. I mean, the guy sold for 9 figures and still is using coaches to, better himself and his company and his family every single day. So, like, don't look at it as it's just us, the guys who are just starting out that need coaches. Like, I hope to use a coach for the next 20 years of my career just to keep leveling myself up.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime you want to take yourself to the next level, you need to have a coach in different areas of your life too. A lot of times, not just in business, but wherever it is that you want to level up.
Fitness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
to get a coach.
a lot of times we don't even know what that level is until you have someone and you talk to someone every single week that is on that level or way higher than that level. You're like, dang, I never knew that level existed. It never even crossed my mind that level was even there. Now it's like, okay, everybody wants $1 million business, but that was, that's a crumb. I'm not happy with that.
That's a crumb.
You can't be
or
happy with
you're
that.
capable of. A coach really unlocks the potential within you that you didn't know that you had in so many areas.
I can't be happy with that. My coach wrote out a paper that says, here's the 10-year plan and showing me how I'm getting a $30 million. How many people think about that? How many people just come up with that out of nothing, right? If you don't even know that, if you can't believe that it's going to happen, how can you even think about it? It doesn't even cross your mind to even think about something like that, let alone, roll out a complete plan. The biggest thing that coaches do, to me, I think, is confidence. It's the confidence to say, hey, this person's been there. He said to do this. I'm going to do it. And I've got the confidence to do it because I know this guy knows what they're talking about.
And the confidence, that they give you by that belief in you.
Now, I'm not telling you go listen to everybody's advice. That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea.
There's plenty of coaches out there.
When you have the right person in your corner that you can trust and you know that they know what they're talking about, sometimes it's good to listen. It's good to listen. And that confidence made, like before I joined Conquer, I knew I had to raise my prices, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. I joined Conquer and I just raised my prices just because I felt like it's what people did when they joined Conquer. It's like, well, I joined Conquer. I got to raise my prices. No one even told me. I felt like I had to do it. I'm in Conquer now.
I got the sticker.
We're part of the elite group. I've got the little, the little sign here that they send you. I got the little. Can you? Don't bring it close to me. There you go. I got this now. I can raise my prices. Right? It's okay. I got this piece of wood.
But Ramon, it was half price last year. Conquer. But it's, we are so capable of so many things in life, so much greatness. And, if I went back, let's say, I started my business 2009, so 14 years ago. I never would have thought myself of being a business owner before I started. I was in the Navy full time. I wanted to just, do Navy things, I guess. Then I got out. I was like, let me start a business. And I was like, well, it'll just be me and my dad for the rest of our life because that's what he did, which is nothing wrong with that. He worked small and did great things. And then as the years grew, it's like, oh, well, we're actually capable of doing bigger things. So let's grow this a little bit more. And then I got my coach in 2018. What was it? 19, I think it was. And then I was like, wait a second, I'm actually capable of doing a whole lot more. Let's hire more people. Wait, we can start another business? Holy cow. It's like they keep pushing you instead of like, we're just in cruise control when we're on our own. We're just in comfortable mode. Yeah. But that coach is out there saying, whoa, let's pump the brakes real quick and take a look. Like, why aren't you doing things this way? Why aren't you doing this way? Well, you're just taking the easy road right now. And I'm just incredibly grateful for all the coaches, mentors, and my tribe for just continuously pushing me to the next level. Because even 2 years ago, I never thought we'd be at a company doing 7 figures in 4 months with Christmas lights. And here we are. We're going to finally knock it out this year. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without people continuously to push myself.
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, you as well, my friend.
You guys have hit on so many, aspects and important points of getting a coach. So listeners, if you don't have one, I think the basics starts with, we've touched higher level things, but that you started with, Ramon, of like, even if you just don't want to go through the pain. I love that you said that. Like, I don't want to get beat on and dragged through the mud that much. Like, I'll take the shortcut. And that's one of the most, basic fundamental parts in business of getting a coach. Like, why go through some of the messy mud that you don't have to if you can hire somebody to give you the shortcut path? And then you learn all of those compounding reasons that we've talked about. But if you're scared to get a coach and think the investment isn't worth it, like that one investment in the beginning, getting your first coach just to show you the shortcut, will save you so much expense and bring so much income just from that one thing alone. And then you get to grow as an individual, and not just have like that blueprint coaching of the plan, but have that coaching of becoming a different person so you can achieve different things.
But you also need to be coachable. Like you said earlier, Ramon, like don't just hire a coach and just say, all right, yeah, I'll do it, and not execute on things. Because then just because you have a coach doesn't mean you're going to get better. I've seen so often where people will hire coaches and just nod and say, I'm going to do it. And they're still stuck in the same place they were 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
But they're full of excuses on why it's not getting done. They're blaming
so
their team. They're
right?
blaming the economy. They're blaming, whatever it is. But it's actually, let's take the blame internally and say, like, I'm not doing these things. I'm not executing on what you told me I should be doing, instead of pointing fingers all day.
I was listening to, I think it was Jeremy Miner. He's a, sales guru. I don't know if you know him, but he's a big sales guy out of Arizona. And one of the things that he was saying, it was, talking to salesmen, but this goes for entrepreneurs also. He says, you go into that break room with all those salesmen, and there's no one in there but negative people in those break rooms, because the people that are making money are working. And those people that are in those break rooms, all they're complaining about, they're bad leads, they're bad customers, they're this, they're that. The good salesman says, what did I do wrong? They're not saying this was a bad lead. They're saying, what did I do wrong? What could have I done? What could I have done better? And I think that's the difference between good entrepreneur. I'm not going to call anyone bad entrepreneurs, but I think that's the difference between what we're talking here is people that are the victim, and then people that are like, all right, I suck at that. Let me figure out how to fix that so I can be better at that. And where can I be better for my team? What can I do that's going to be better?
Yeah, exactly. It is the difference in, and you won't say like bad or good, but the business owners that go to the next level, the difference in the most successful people is your willingness to, not only be coachable and be accountable, not make excuses, but recognize the areas that you have gaps and be willing to grow. You said that too. And that was your win in identifying that gap. I definitely have a gap, like you said, of the squirrel brain of like, oh, let's do this. And until you have the self-awareness that you need to fix that, or you need to, bring somebody alongside you with the strength to harness that, then you're holding yourself back.
And that's so important in culture. And Ramon, you do an incredible job with that at your company. Having great company culture is that ownership too. You're not out there pointing fingers and making excuses why things aren't getting done. You're owning that up, figuring it out. You knew you need that production manager to bring yourself to the next level for your company. And instead of sitting here making excuses, you finally did execute on that. And like you said earlier in the show, that it was a huge benefit to you to free up valuable time so you could focus on fewer things instead of trying to do 10 things at 20%. Now you could probably do 4 things at 100% of, getting those things fine tuned for your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's one thing, talking about culture, because I do love your culture. I love seeing your videos. And, how big is your team right now with your light installation? Because you've grown incredibly over the last few years.
That door's been spinning here lately. I think we are probably like 14 or 15.
So what's one key thing that you found during a very high stressful season with the Christmas light installation that you've been able to keep the morale high and keep the culture going? Because we know for those that do the Christmas light installation, that it's very hard to keep everybody happy. And we try, and sometimes even within our company, we get burnt out no matter what we do. If we're taking care of the employees, bringing them food, talking to them, team meetings, things like that, there's still going to be that burnout or can be that burnout. So what are you implementing in your company to help with that?
So we try to do things, and over the break, we try to take the team out to a Golden Corral because it was just easiest to do something like that. We're going to try to cook, but the times didn't work out. And, you got crews coming back at different times. It's so hard to get everyone back at the same time. So we're like, all right, well, we'll just take everyone out to Golden Corral and we'll all meet up and eat together. Unfortunately, when you do that, you can't make everyone come. So everyone didn't show up, which, kind of sucks. But, it is what it is. We're going to do more things. We're going to get back out there. But one of the biggest things that I've done is, kind of explaining, like, we understand what's going on here. And the biggest help that I have with my team is my leaders have been here. They've been in this position. They know what's going on. And they can help, keep the negativity down with the team. And we try to talk to them and make sure that they're leading the right way. Because if you as a leader if you're down, you're going to bring your whole team down, and it's going to make the whole day really suck even worse. And what I used to do, I haven't done it much this year. I still every now and then, but what I used to do was just get out and get my hands dirty. And if we're out late, I'd try to make sure that I'm out there with them, because I want them to know that, if you're out here, I'm going to be out here, and I'm going to make sure that, you don't think I'm just, laid up and, doing anything, because that, believe it or not, I mean, that kind of stuff goes through their head. They're like, I'm out here in this cold ass weather, and he's sitting up on his recliner watching, Bugs Bunny. and they may not be thinking about that directly, but they're definitely thinking, when you don't see me all day, it's natural to think I ain't doing shit. I'm sorry for cussing.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm not doing anything. But I work just as hard as anyone, and I think that it's important that your team knows that kind of thing. I haven't done that as much this year because I've got a manager in a position to do those kinds of things. And you've got to play that fine line, because a lot of them are used to talking to me. And if I play that role, then they're going to want to continue to want to talk to me. And I'm like, do not call me first. This is who you call them. If they don't know, they can call me, but I want you to call them first. So I know that goes off the realm of the
I think those are two important things in culture, though, that you mentioned.
In culture, yeah.
Sometimes we think of it as the fun and games and the extra layers and gifts and things that we're doing, but culture is also, like you said, developing leaders, that you have strong leaders in place that you personally developed that carry on your culture, that it doesn't always have to be the big extravagant things, but have you built you personally built up leaders who carry on that positive attitude and expectations and carry on that culture every day. And then secondly, it is important that you show up, and there's a balance between managing and not wanting them to go to you as a manager, but as a leader, being present with your energy. And like you said, them seeing that, we're not out here in the cold and you're not. That makes a difference. Just being out there, casting the vision, them seeing that, you're all a part of it as well. Those things make a huge difference in culture, in everyone knowing that you're all together as a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, genuinely, really giving a damn. And that's my biggest problem. That's why I had to put someone else in place, because I give too many damns. I give so much that, I get taken advantage of. It is what it is, but that's why it's good to put someone else in place, because now you can give them hell for giving a damn.
And one thing you said earlier too,
I care And we try to do our best to get to know our people, and it's so important. Every single Monday, we have a board in our front room here where we go through, and it's something I got from Conquer, but we go through every single Monday, and everyone tells us what their big win was last week and what their goal is this week. And we put their goals on the board, and we try to hold people accountable if they did their goals or not, and be happy for everyone that's celebrating big wins. And when some people are talking about, hey, look, I'm doing some financial stuff. Hey, look, I got this app that I just found. It's called Rocket Money. It's really good for this. Or I'm looking for a new bank account. Well, make sure that you don't just go to any bank account, because some of these places really tear you up. If you go on to Nerd Wallet, they've got lots of good choices and show you the differences. It's so important for us to have that Monday meeting, and I do not push that meeting off for nothing, because that meeting is so important to me, because it's us getting to know each other when we're not working. And sometimes when you first started, when the people are new, they're going to stay in the business side, and then some of the older guys will break the ice by going personal with it. And so you can keep it business. You can talk about your goals for the job, or you can go into the personal side. And when people get into the personal side, we get to see that side of them that not everyone is able to see, because you're only working with these people. And those some people, I'm not here to make friends. Well, um, this is family to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a family owned business, and this is how we get to know you. And so some people are like, well, I don't have a big one, nothing good happened. Well, we're gonna sit here and wait until you find one, because no matter how dark that tunnel is, there's always light somewhere at the end, and you got to find it. And I make sure that, hey, you find something that you can be grateful for, but everything was not terrible, and it promotes an environment where people aren't always just feeling bad for themselves. You know,
Yeah, that's helping them grow not only professionally but personally, and then, investing an interest in their personal life to be able to reach those goals. Whether it's get a bank account, get a loan, buy a house, move, grow within the company. So that's incredible for you to be able to build that within your team, for them to want to be there for those meetings and talk about that and to share their wins with you.
absolutely.
All right, Ramon. Well, that wraps up our time today. What a great talk. So much excitement
Absolutely.
going on with you and your company. Congratulations on the production manager. Anything else you want to talk about before you go?
I just want to thank you all for having me on. I look forward to doing more stuff like this. Fortunately, I have a really good friend in Jared that always pushes me to talk and is always pushing me to do great things. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful to have you as someone that I can reach out to if I'm going through something, or I need to talk about something, or if we just want to bullshit. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Angela, for keeping him in line.
Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Ramon.
Ramon. We look forward to seeing you in March at Sales Boost 2024. I cannot wait to see you on stage and just listen to what you're going to deliver to the audience. Thank you again for your time. And that wraps up another episode of In the Foxhole. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode next week.